Oh, when you look at the score, you say, how could they? But, we spent a lot of time in our end in the first period, and second period we kind of got caught in that, maybe back and forth kind of game instead of managing the puck a little bit better in the O zone, but still had some scoring chances. But it's one of those games kind of like Buffalo, when you let a team hang around that long, you're inviting trouble. And the lack of finish, I guess, tonight, where we had some great opportunities, but give their goaltender credit. He played, he was outstanding tonight, gave him a chance to stay in it. But from our end of it, you tell yourself, you got to find ways to score goals, and it was tough. There's no doubt. The team was getting tight there at the end because of that, and you're always fearing the worst when the team is hanging around that long. And thankfully we were able to get a break there in the shootout and finally win one.
Well, he didn't face as many shots. Certainly Tuukka had to come up big at times too.
He did. It's sometimes we say that a lot. It's not the quantity but the quality of shots, and I know that two-pad stack save there at one point was probably one of the biggest saves there late in the third, and he had to make the saves when needed to, and again in that shootout, it's the same thing. Left on his own, and some pretty good shooters went up against him.
A lot of times this year you've talked about the lack of finish. Given the stage of the season that you're in and maybe moving forward, what would you like to see?
Well, ironically, I think a lot of times the lack of finish seems to be against teams that are at the bottom of the standings, and we have a lot of great scoring chances. And I don't know if it's just because we're trying to get a little too cute and either waiting too long, or whether it's not enough good net front positioning. But when they're big games, we find ways to score. So I don't think I'm going to look at that as that big of an issue. But both games that you've seen like that, it's Buffalo and it's Toronto. Where we had a lot of shots, a lot of scoring opportunities, and just couldn't put the pucks past our goaltender.
So is that what gives you hope for the rest of this week? And then if there's playoffs, that the fact that you seem to respond to the bigger games, so you just you're looking at these as the outliers?
Well, those are, no matter what team, I think, Matt, no matter what team there is, those are always tough games to play, and they come in here, they've got nothing to lose except a lot to gain by being spoilers, and then all of a sudden, you get a lot of opportunities. Their goaltender is starting to feel it. He feels invincible, and then you're trying to put pucks past him, and there's no doubt, in the third period, even in the second half of the third, they're just playing and say, let's go win this game, while we're saying we can't afford to lose this, And although you're trying to win, there's a lot more pressure on our team than there was on theirs.
Claude, how reflective is the 7 or 8 almost double-figure shots from Pasternak on reflective of the game he had in the line?
Well, again, he's a guy that's dangerous, around the net. Hasn't scored a ton of goals, but he's there. He makes things happen, and those are the exciting parts of his game, and that's the exciting part of that line.
Are you working on kind of a rotation on that fourth line, or was there a reason for
more rotation? Listen, I think Soupy's one of our great face-off guys, and he's a good penalty killer. And then at the same time, I feel we've got a lot of players that can go in and out right now. That's one of the reasons. But at the same time, I'm trying to create a little bit of competition here, and I don't want anybody comfortable in knowing that they're automatics game in, game out.
Also, sharpness, is that part of it, Claude? Going into the playoffs, you want everybody as sharp as possible.
Yeah, that's the same thing as what I'm saying there. A little bit of sharpness there, and make sure that everybody's on their toes.
anything else?
What do you think of the defensive game, not just tonight, but recently?
Well, it's been better, obviously, when you're giving up, just a few goals, and yeah, you definitely need a good goaltender to be able to do that. But I think, considering, we've had to bring a guy up from Providence, and some of those guys have had more ice time, and we've had to mix and match our back end, and even our forwards have done, I think, a better job of protecting the house. Our defensive game is probably not perfect, but it's better than it has been when we were losing games. I thought we were giving teams a lot of great opportunities from the slot area, and we've really closed that down. What I'd like to see a little bit better is those shots from the point. I think our forwards need to do a better job of getting in those shooting lanes. They're getting through us, and tonight, when you look at Toronto, we had a bunch of shots that were blocked. I think 11 just in that first period alone. So we got to get better in that area, got to get a little bit more determination and to get into shooting lanes.